Hey family, and welcome to Family People. I'm Raymond again. We are here to look at DCeased, a zombicide game. So this is the follow-up from CMON, looking at the comic world of zombies, and we have a dev diary that we can dive into. So that will add maybe a bit more information to the content of what was revealed in that initial days. So we have here, the city has fallen, the masses have been infected by the anti-life virus. How did we get here? So this is an article from Michael Chanel, and he was also the designer for Marvel Zombies, a zombicide game as well. So he's got a very thorough knowledge and understanding of the comic book world, and he's bringing that to the board game table, so that's great. So he's the designer, and today we're looking to answer just that. How did we get here? So specifically we're going to talk about the influences that led to the creation of DCeased, the zombicide game. Yes, I know it can be easy to look at the title and go, well, the comics, and yes, that is true. Most of what you'll see in the game is based around the iconic comic line, but that is not the only place where inspiration has been drawn. So we will not just see inputs from the original comics that you can go online and have a look at, and I included a link to a kind of a summary overview and listening to those comics, and they are available as well as was shared by the King of Average, currently on Amazon Kindle. So the majority of the original DCeased comics are available for free if you have a Kindle membership, so you can go and check those out, and I'll include a link to those below as well. But that is not the only source of inspiration. So some things get straight off the bat, and semi-spoilers for those who haven't read the DCeased comics, but nothing major, I promise. Technically, the zombies in DCeased aren't zombies at all in the classic sense. No, this story, everything stems from a universe-wide outbreak of the anti-life virus. So you do get exposed to what this storyline is right at the outset, at the very beginning of the DCeased comics, and where that originates from, and how that spreads so quickly. So this turns those infected into bloodthirsty killers. Whole soul existence is now based around causing as much death and destruction as possible. They don't care about eating anyone. So the actual bent and drive is very different to what we've seen with Marvel Zombies and with your traditional zombicides. What this means is that while the infected do have some control over their powers and abilities, their higher cognitive functions are largely gone. So this is important here, and we'll come back to that. So save an overwhelming urge to kill as much as possible while infected, it also appears most of the biological processes of the states just stop. So every zombie-like, they are very zombie-like in that manner. But I did feel a need to explain that. Technically the term zombie isn't proper, but they are called zombies in this series, and this is zombicide, so that's what we're calling them here as well. Okay, so just back to here then. So their functions, their higher cognitive functions are largely gone. Now this is a really critical point in the difference between Marvel Zombies and DCeased. In that, of course, in Marvel Zombies, you have periods where the Marvel superhero zombies are ravenously hungry and they're out to eat. They have to quench that hunger. They are driven to eat, unlike the DCeased storyline, which is they are driven to kill. But also in particular this higher cognitive function. So at the point when they have been starved in Marvel Zombies, when they have been starved for an extensive amount of time, their cognitive functions return, and they are able to then sort of recognize and mourn what they've done in the world, the people that they've eaten, things like that. So that, you know, it is quite a bit more in depth in terms of that sense of reality and that kind of zombie versus human, or superhuman state, this intellectual side of their capabilities and functions. So you do get that. Now what that fundamentally means potentially for the game is, are we going to see playable characters like Zombie Superman? Now I suspect from what's being described here No, we are not. We will have a much more traditional zombicide coming out of that. That is what I suspect. And again, obviously, leave your comments below. Let me know what your thoughts are. But I think the fact that they are explicitly calling out here that their higher cognitive functions are largely gone, say the overwhelming urge to kill, I suspect that we will see the zombie infected superheroes being very much the abominations that will be fought against, as where the living superheroes are what we'll be able to play. I know that there was a large push and demand from the community with Marvel Zombies to be able to have access to that aspect of the game. There was a lot of, for lack of a better phrase, disgruntlement, I guess, within the community at the initial release. That the initial release was very much around playing zombies eating the non-zombie superheroes and bystanders, and eating shield agents, etc., and being overcome by this overwhelming hunger. And then there was a secondary element, the transverse core box that enabled you to play your traditional heroes versus the abomination superhero zombies that were and hordes of infected superhero adjacent comic book characters. So yeah, it does seem to me at that outset, particularly with that emphasis here, that is not what we are going to see in DCeased. Obviously, I could be completely wrong. I'd be interested to know what your thoughts are, but that would be my takeaway from what they've just shared there. So, is this just entirely based on the comics then? Not exactly. While the comics heavily influence everything that you're going to see, some 90% I would say, we're not entirely limiting ourselves to just that medium. One major change the readers and the fans have noticed immediately is in our core box we have still living Batman and infected Superman, which is essentially the opposite of how it happened in the series. The reasoning for this kind of plays back into what I mentioned earlier. When someone is infected, they typically lose most of their cognitive functions. So again, reiterating that fact here, this means the zombie Batman is really just a super fit zombie, but everything that makes him Batman is gone. So this is just one example though. The primary point is that throughout the entire design process, while DCeased created the base and foundation of this entire project, we did not limit ourselves to just that run. Now what that's alluding to, I'm not entirely sure. I did share in the other video, I'm probably less au fait with the DC sort of universe of things. Certainly the characters like Batman and Superman, I'm fairly sort of aware of, and the whole kind of LexCorp and Supergirl and the sort of, you know, the TV show stuff and the cinematic stuff. But yeah, I'm not massively okay beyond that in the comic book world, so we'll see what that and like I said, that's definitely Michael's forte is very much the comic book world, as opposed to sort of the TV and movies that obviously made them sort of the household name that they are today. So even when looking at the core box, you'll see little Easter eggs and inclusions that, whilst not present in DCeased comics, they're still iconic in the greater DC mythos. So as a whole, so inclusions will be major and minor supporting Superman characters that did not directly feature in DCeased, such as Bibowski. My gosh, I have no idea. Dan Turpin, Mercy Graves, all make appearances. And you'll find a plethora of other unique items, and again, this is going to be key, items and equipment throughout the game, such as LexCorp Energy Blasters, LexCorp Personal Force Fields, LexCorp Energy Blades. Notice a theme. Okay, so again, there definitely does seem to be that Lex Luthor influence in here, which is interesting. I think with Batman being the lead survivor character superhero in the core box, I wonder if I might have expected more Batman-esque, I suppose, and maybe we still will yet see a more Batman bespoke expansion box. Perhaps we'll see. I find that quite intriguing, however, particularly with Batman having such a large, I mean, Batman has kind of almost like Spider-Man, I guess, in the Marvel universe in terms of the significant entourage of villains that are available in that universe to pull from. So yeah, so that's quite interesting, I think. And yeah, obviously LexCorp is much more like Superman based. However, this is really key for me, this items and equipment. So again, one of the other significant quips, I guess, for the community around the Marvel zombies was that it did away with the equipment. Of course, as superheroes, you would be able to power yourself up with these special powers, and you could spend your powers to utilize and unlock special abilities, kind of amazing feats of bravery and things like that. And transversely, as you were playing the zombies, you would also have the similar. But there was a large amount of hesitation, I guess, from the community around the fact that suddenly one of the key critical parts and aspects of the historical Zombicide games, being the equipment that you go and search for and find and then utilize throughout the games, suddenly wasn't there. So clearly here we have a harken back to the reintroduction of the licensed equipment. So again, really keen to see how that plays out. Definitely equipment, particularly when you get to sort of the LexCorp and stuff like that. Massive part of the DC world. So we're really keen to see how that plays out. And that's another important. So theme, we wanted every aspect of the project to bleed, the entirety of the DC universe. Again, interesting, entirety of the DC universe has a lot to cover. So even if you are just a casual fan, you'll have those little moments of, oh hey, I recognise that, or see something that, well, not directly taken from DCeased comics run, feels at home within the setting. It was important to take all aspects and then blend them together in the iconic Zombicide field, craft something that seemed familiar to both fans of Zombicide as well as DCeased, but still allow for a degree of uniqueness, taking a blend of the two and creating something that enhances both into a complete and memorable comic and gaming experience. And again, they have the link here so you can, of course, be notified when it launches on Kickstarter. But yeah, so I think there's some, even just in that a very initial dev diary, I think there's some really distinctive, those two really distinctive aspects that make it very different compared to Marvel Zombies. The equipment and the inability to retain the cognitive function when in that zombified state. So yeah, I think we're going to see some really critical differences, and it makes me a little bit, I guess, nervous, apprehensive, less sure that we're going to see the anticipated level of cross-compatibility and playability from DC into Marvel and vice versa. Very interested to see how this goes, very interested to see what the next dev diary comes out with and presents to us. I saw some comments on other threads about it was interesting, there was no sort of more sort of cards shared or anything like that. You know, it was quite sparse information in terms of the actual the game itself, beyond, you know, the primary focus of, okay, this is the original comics, and this is how we're utilising the information, and beyond that, I'm bringing that into the gameplay. I did see comments about not just the fact that you've got a living Batman and a zombified Superman, but you've got a living Cyborg, who again in the original comics, spoilers, he was the very first one to be taken. In fact, was the spreader of the anti-life virus in the initial outbreak. So yeah, again, very interesting to see how this pans out and how we see this continue to develop, particularly from a cross-compatibility perspective. But hey, let me know your thoughts. They're my thoughts of what's been shared so far. I'll include, obviously, links below to the stuff that I've referenced, but please do add your comments below. Give me your thoughts, give me your ideas. What would you like to see? What are you hoping to see coming out of this new game? Are you bothered about cross-compatibility? Did you not bother with the Marvels, but you're really genuinely intrigued and interested in the DC? Certainly given that the DC films are much more darker, and they just carry that much more sort of natural, darker feel to them, and maybe therefore they do lend themselves somewhat more so to that kind of ethos and that gaming arena. But yeah, let me know what your thoughts are. Leave your comments below. If you like this video, give us your like. If you want to hear more of this, please subscribe. It encourages me to keep producing this stuff for you. And yeah, hopefully see you again soon in a new video, either based on this or another playthrough of Zombicide. And yeah, if there's something particularly you'd like to see played through, either Zombicide Undead or Alive, or any of that expansion stuff, I've got the Galactus expansion for Marvel Zombies and the Heroes Resistance box, so maybe a mashup of those two and see how they play through together. But yeah, if there's something particularly you'd like to see, you're interested to know more about, please drop a comment below, let me know. Otherwise, I'll speak to you again soon. Thanks for watching.